Jules Bianchi.
Was that at the, no, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, dude. They're actually showing all of the crashes resulting in people passing away, and I don't want to see that. Like, this video is not, this is not what it was meant to be. What is going on, guys? It is JJ here, back with a new video, and today this is a sort of throwback to when we started in F1, or just started the F1 videos in general. We're going to take a look today at the top 10 worst crashes in F1 history. Now, this is going to be obviously extremely biased to whatever Watch Mojo is picking. Let me know what you guys think of some of the worst crashes. I think they did this video in light of the Zhou crash in the Alfa Romeo at Silverstone, which was still to this day such an insane crash. Such an insane crash. I don't get it. I don't get to this day how he's okay. But anyway, we're gonna take a look at the 10 worst crashes in F1 history. You guys have to let me know your thoughts on them down in the comments below. Let's get into the video. As well, guys, you can find the original video down in the description below on Watch Mojo. Very unique that they did this.
And the roll hoop and the halo very much doing its job before the car digs in, and you do not ever want to see accidents like that.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at the 10 worst crashes in F1 history.
Big fire there! As
And Grosjean, yeah. Grosjean is so lucky.
Indeed, and unsurprisingly,
The man is so lucky to have not burned alive in that car. Like, if he would have got stuck in there, it's a wrap.
For this list, we're looking at the most devastating crashes to take place in F1. Sadly, because some of these crashes resulted in deaths. A content warning is now in effect. Which of these crashes had you covering your eyes? Be sure to let us know in the comments. Lorenzo Bandini at the 1967 Monaco Grand Prix. At the 1967 Monaco Grand Prix, Lorenzo Bandini was trailing in second place behind Denny Hulme when he lost control of the vehicle and crashed.
Now Bandini. Bandini's crashed.
Good Lord, look at that.
The car, it looks like it's upside down, Phil.
The car flipped and its fuel tank broke, which resulted in the car bursting into flames. Marshals struggled with rescuing Bandini as the flames constantly grew and made the task all the more difficult. Although Bandini was eventually pulled out of the vehicle, he had still sustained third-degree burns. He was taken to the hospital, but sadly he passed away 3 days later.
This is number 10? This is number 10 on the list. What are we getting ourselves into? Listen, if they show the Jules crash, I'm done. I'm calling it right now. I will stop the video.
The 1982 Belgian Grand Prix. Near the end of the
Villeneuve
qualifier session
crash.
of this edition of the Belgian Grand Prix, Gilles Villeneuve aimed to improve his position and lap time, so he attempted to cut another racer. There was clearly confusion as to which side he should complete the maneuver. He went right and hit the vehicle he attempted to pass. Villeneuve's car flipped several times, and the subsequent impact was so devastating, it resulted in Villeneuve being launched out of the vehicle. He was rushed to the hospital, but hours later it was announced that he had passed away. Jules Bianchi.
Was that at the, no, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, dude. They're actually showing all of the crashes resulting in people passing away, and I don't want to see that. Like, this video is not, this is not what it was meant to be. I did not realize, and the Canadian Grand Prix is renamed after Villeneuve, isn't it? Well, it's not the, like, Gilles Villeneuve Grand Prix, but it's like the track in his honor. Yeah, I'm in a tough pickle here, guys, because I don't want to watch Jules Bianchi's crash. We watched the video on it, which you can find the video on in the description below, but, like, not the actual crash itself. Big content warning at this rate. Like they said, big content warning. I'm gonna trudge through this, but I don't want to. Like, I don't want to.
2014 Japanese Grand Prix. In F1 races, one crash often leads to another, but none have been under such unusual circumstances. During a lap of this race, as a result of weather conditions, Sauber's Adrian Sutil would go off the track and hit a wall. A crane was used by marshals to remove the vehicle. During the removal process, Marussia's Jules Bianchi wound up driving directly into the crane. He was
I didn't need to see that. I did not need to see that. Holy hell. We're two minutes into this video, and I don't want to continue. Like, this is bad. That's the actual first time I've seen the Jules Bianchi crash in real time. Wow. Okay. Ooh, please don't show that again. Please don't show that again.
He later passed away as a result of the head injuries he sustained during the accident.
He will be much missed in the Formula One paddock.
Ronnie Peterson, the 1978 Italian Grand Prix. Crashing the vehicle he was meant to drive at the race during a practice session, Team Lotus's Ronnie Peterson was forced to drive an older model instead. Along with his vehicle facing technical difficulties, the main race began as the flag was dropped before all the cars were in their respective positions. The ensuing havoc and confusion caused by the error resulted in Peterson's vehicle colliding with a McLaren driven by James Hunt.
Oh my goodness.
Peterson's Lotus would then hit a barrier and burst into flames. Hunt and several crew members were able to get Peterson out of the vehicle and he was rushed to the hospital. The next morning, Peterson was pronounced dead as a result of a fat embolism. Romain Grosjean, the 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yeah, dude. But Grosjean got out of the car for the, like, up to this point, we've only seen people dying.
During the first lap of this race, Romain Grosjean's vehicle clipped Daniel Kvyat's AlphaTauri's left front wheel. Grosjean's car was sent reeling and crashed into a metal barrier. It was sliced in half and caught on fire.
That's extraordinary. Yeah.
It's just the car.
It's gone through the barrier, you see. The car's gone through the barrier.
Despite all odds, Grosjean was able to remove his race boot, escape the vehicle, and ultimately save himself. Surprisingly, he left relatively unscathed, having only suffered minor burns and spraining his left ankle. Having only been inside the vehicle a mere 28 seconds after the crash had occurred, it is truly a miracle that he survived and was able to escape an almost certain...
With just burns on the hands.
My kids, and I said, no, I cannot die today.
Alberto Ascari, the 1955 Monaco Grand Prix. Trailing behind Sterling Moss in this race for the lead, Alberto Ascari was in luck when the engine of Moss's Mercedes broke down. The opportunity to take the lead, however, was missed, as Ascari's vehicle swerved out of control, crashed through a barrier and directly into the Mediterranean Sea.
Ascari has overshot the chicane. The car has somersaulted straight into the harbor.
The car sank, but fans breathed a sigh of relief when Ascari appeared on the surface. He was subsequently rescued and hauled out of the water.
A motor launch has picked Ascari up, and he is brought over to the harbor side where an ambulance is waiting.
Despite the harsh nature of the crash, Ascari came out of the whole ordeal with a broken nose and some bruises. Wolfgang von Trips.
You know what? We'll take those. We'll take those. You somersaulted a car into the Monaco harbor and you only broke your nose. Fair play. Like that's perfect.
1961 Italian Grand Prix. On the second lap of the Italian Grand Prix race in 1961, two cars on the track came in contact with one another. While one of the cars, driven by Jim Clark, came to a halt, the other, driven by Wolfgang von Trips, was spinning out of control and struck a section of spectators, 15 of whom were killed. Von Trips was thrown out of the vehicle and did not survive the accident. Despite this horrific sequence of events, the race continued, and Von Trips' teammate, Phil Hill, went on to win the race. Some drivers only became aware of the crash and its severity after the race, leaving many to question why it had not been stopped. Niki Lauda, the 1976 German Grand Prix. One of the
This video is just off the rails at this rate. Like, we need a cleansing break. If you are still here at this rate, I appreciate you. We're gonna take like a good minute to just sit here for a second. Because holy shit. F1 has done some crazy things, you know. 15 people died. The driver died in an accident. And in the 1950s, they're like, continue the race. Like, that's That's actually insane. It's actually insane. I don't get that. Oh yeah, no, we're taking a nice little water break. Okay, let's get back into it.
Behind the wheel. This Austrian legend was involved in one of the most horrific accidents in F1 history. During the second lap of the race, out of nowhere, Lauda's car swerved out of control and caught on fire. Several drivers and staff assisted in pulling Lauda out of the vehicle, but despite escaping, he received severe burns all over.
And the initial prognosis was that he had little chance of survival. The nature of his injuries was such that a priest was called to administer the last rites.
Even though he was in critical condition and went into a coma, Lauda remarkably survived the ordeal and would make an incredible comeback after 6 weeks, and he later went on to win 2 more world titles. Ronnie Ratzenberger, the 1994 San Marino Grand Prix.
At the conclusion of this afternoon's final qualifying session for tomorrow's San Marino Grand Prix, I sadly have to report that the news is bad.
During a qualifying session of the San Marino Grand Prix in 1994, the nose wing of
I
this
know what's going to be number 1.
vehicle
I
had
know
gotten
what's going to be number 1.
The car subsequently went off the track and slammed directly into a barrier. Ratzenberger had suffered a skull fracture so severe he was pronounced dead shortly after medical staff arrived at the site of the crash.
It was the first time that we have to face a dead Formula 1 driver for our generation. The whole atmosphere was very heavy that afternoon, you know, and everybody was thinking about what are we doing here, or what's the point, you know.
Worst of all, many believed the tragedy could have been prevented, as Ratzenberger was aware of the issue with his vehicle, but opted to complete another lap instead. Unfortunately, this wouldn't be the last tragedy to take place
on this
at the
same
1994
weekend.
Grand Prix in San Marino.
Literally the deadliest weekend in F1 history. It's not actually. But maybe one of the most
Before we
impactful.
continue, be sure to subscribe
Ratzenberger
to our
and Senna
channel
in the
and
same
ring
weekend.
the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Ayrton Senna, the 1994 San Marino
The
Grand
next
Prix.
day.
Senna, my goodness! I just saw him plunge off to the right. What on earth happened there? I don't know.
On lap 7 of the main race, Brazilian and 3-time champ Ayrton Senna had taken a comfortable lead over Benetton's Michael Schumacher. At one point coming up on the corner, he attempted to make a turn, only for his vehicle to skid off the track and crash into a wall. The accident was so devastating the car's front wheel and nose were torn off.
Ayrton ran out of luck. He did not have a broken bone in his body. He did not have any bruising. If that piece of assembly would have gone 6 inches higher or 6 inches lower, he would have walked back to the paddock.
Although he was pulled out of the vehicle, he was in critical condition, and despite receiving medical treatment, it was to no avail, and he passed away later that evening.
He was special. I mean, he was not 1 step, he was 2 steps better than everyone else.
Did you enjoy this video?
No, I did not enjoy the video. I did not enjoy it. Was brutal. The Senna crash has just flushed my body. Like, that's... Seeing that come back to light over and over and over again is an absolute bummer, but okay. These are literally were the 10 deadliest and or worst crashes. They went psycho mode with this video. But okay, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys for another video. Peace.